So what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to jump into a video all about PvP, give you some of the information I haven't covered before, and then we're going to jump into the latest information and the combat footage we've got from the stream this month. So diving into the PvP, obviously PvP is going to be one of the main focuses within Ashes of Creation, just due to how the systems work and how the game is being built. Now that doesn't mean it's fully PvP, there's so many PvE systems and there's so much balance within this game. I really don't believe it's going to be as bad as people think at first glance. But the one thing I have seen is when people are more on the PvE side, they say they love all the PvE that this game's got on offer, but the PvP they think that is maybe potentially too intense for them. And to that I say, look at what Steven's saying there. There's so many other PvE systems within the game. Now, I understand you're going to have battlegrounds and node sieges and, caravan PvP and open world PvP, castle PvP. I totally understand this, so there's a lot of PvP, but that doesn't mean if you're a PvEer that there's nothing in this game for you. Trust me, if you're in the right guild or potentially you're trading or allied or you just want some protection, there will be guilds there for you. So don't just give up on the game because you look at first glance and you see a loot or resource drop PvP system and it puts you off. Before I jump into all of the PvP systems and jump into the latest update we've just got from the combat stream, which is pretty awesome, I just wanted to put that out there. Just stick with the game and actually experience it and wait for Alpha 2. Don't give up just yet because you think it's a bit too hardcore. What Intrepid is doing here has not been done before. It's truly unique. So the game has open world PvP, obviously the flagging system. Now the flagging system's going to come in 3 stages. You're going to have non-combatants, combatants and corrupted players. Everyone is going to start as a non-combatant. Now, if you're a non-combatant, you can't just get your mate to go gank someone and then you loot the body. When you're a non-combatant, you can't even loot the bodies or the bags of these enemies that are combatants or potentially corrupted players. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just pop a little chart up on the screen because I've seen a lot of people, they really don't understand this system, and when you come into this game fresh and there's all this information being fired at you, a lot of people shut you down and say go on, read the wiki and do this, and I think people forget how much shit is involved in this game, so this kind of should help you a little bit understand that better. But the basis is if you're a non-combatant and you attack a non-combatant or a combatant, you will become a combatant. So basically, if you attack another player, you then are flagged for combat. Now, if you attack a corrupted player, there's no change. So you can stay a non-combatant, and if one of these corrupted players just comes to gank you, you can defend yourself and not have any of these negative debuffs involved with this. And I think that's really cool that Intrepid's put that there, so you won't get any corruption and you can defend yourself against corrupted players, leaving you the option to stay a non-combatant as well as defend yourself if needed. So if you're going to turn combatant, if you attack a combatant or your combat pet attacks a combatant, or you fight back when attacked, or if you even enter an open world battleground, you will automatically flagged as a combatant for PvP. Now, why would you want to be a combatant? Obviously, some people love PvP. I want to PvP. I enjoy that. But why would you want to be a combatant? Well, you don't want to be corrupt. So if you're a combatant, you can attack other combatants and not have any of the negative consequences that come with being corrupted. But the thing is, if you heal or buff a combatant and you're a non-combatant, you will become a combatant. So even if you're not, directly attacking this person, when you buff the other guy or you heal the other guy, you're then going to put yourself into the stage of being a combatant. Now, if you want to avoid being a combatant, that's something you don't want to do. All these little things they're putting in is kind of tweaking it so you don't choose or exploit the system, but it's going to be super difficult to balance, but I think it's a good foundation that they've put in place. Now, you can just set it so you're permanently a combatant, but what I will say is there is a 90-second cooldown after you've attacked someone before you can change back into being a non-combatant, which you are going to need to do because you can't log out as a combatant, which I think is a nice little thing Intrepid's implemented there, but we'll have to see how it all plays out in game. So that pretty much covers the basis of how the open world PvP will work and the mechanic system within Ashes of Creation. Now, we do have corruption, and that's quite a big system. It's quite detailed, and I've made a separate video on that, so what I'll do is I'll pop that that down below for you to check out. Kind of gives you the information we know, my opinion on it, and also some issues I have with it potentially being exploited quite a lot. Now, what types of PvP is Ashes of Creation going to offer? Well, you're going to have these really immersive, crazy PvP battles in world that are random, that could be just to get some of these gatherables this guy's been farming for ages, or just kind of to grief, or just kind of you see an enemy guild or some beef ensues in world chat and you just start fighting. That's one type of PvP that you'll come across that is extremely difficult to kind of see how it would play out. It's going to be unique to each server, to each guild, to each player playing within Veda, and I think that's pretty cool. Then you're going to have Caravans. Now, Caravans are going to be where you want to shuttle your resources or your rare valuables, or potentially trade with allies, or just move from node to node or place to place. And you know, this is kind of a mini game within itself, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I have a full video on this that's got a lot of good information, and if you check that out you'll learn a lot more. But just to give you a little snippet here doesn't do it justice, so I would check that video out. And I know I've just said like check the other video, but that's what I want to do with the channel. The more information you have, the more knowledge you have about the game, it's just better, because then you don't get these ignorant comments that some people are putting out there, this is a scam, or some of this negative backlash that Intrepid seems to get sometimes. You know, as a content creator, I want to give you as much information as I can, so when you leave the video, you leave with the answers and not more questions. So that's kind of why I'm saying to check out my other videos, because some of these systems in some videos are compiled all into one, and there's just so much shit to digest. It's kind of confusing, and if you're newer to the game or you're semi-experienced but you're still learning, there's just too much to really take in. But what I can say is this game is going to be absolutely insane when it comes to PvP modes. You're talking the node sieges or the castle sieges, you know, building up this node to a level 6, having these alliances, learn to live around these people and these mini PvPs, and having a home, a secure area to then maybe some squabble ensues and some war kicks off, and you know you're fighting for your node. Not only fighting for your node, you know if that's destroyed, you lose your freehold, you have to move on, and in that area you might be blacklisted, maybe people won't want you there, so you have to find another node. And the castle sieges alone, the raw mounts that come with that, it's just some crazy dynamics at play here. But dipping back into castles and raw mounts, now you're going to need a castle if you want a raw mount via the raw stable that you get when you own a castle. But to get a castle, there's only 5 of them in the world, and these battles are going to be 250 versus 250. And Intrepid has said they're aiming for 500 versus 500 in these open world mega battles. Now I can't wait to take part in this, I can't wait to see it, and it's going to be some crazy shit and some real fun to be had there. Then you're going to have Guild Wars. Now what I'll say is that I do have another video on Guild Wars, because not many people were covering it, and I think it's justified to have that, so I'll pop that in the description below and above for you to check out, because it's a nice little video there. But Guild Wars are going to be really cool, and I can't wait to take a part in them as well. Now in Discord I was asked about, well, what happens if you've only got half an hour to an hour, or you're busy with work, or you don't have much time with the kids but you want to get on and play with some guys. Well, I think it was potentially Matt who could have said that, and a couple of other guys. Well, this is where your 1-man, your 3-man, 5-man, and possibly 20-man arena battles comes in. So think of your soul when you have them battlegrounds and you just want to jump in for some PvP. I think it's really cool and really nice that people who are more casual, or maybe not the best at PvP, could use these to learn, and not just that. If you want to train some guys up, you can jump in here, or if you've just got a little bit of spare time and you can't get on too long, this is where arenas are really good, and I think Intrepid implementing these is just bang on. But then if you don't really fancy that because you're going to be versing other people, these duels, now these are going to be contained within a freehold. They don't come under the flagging system, and it could be 1 versus 1 where you just train the guy. We do have some guys I know who want to play but kind of say they're pretty bad at PvP and they're unsure about it. Well, something like this, if you're nervous or you want to be really a part of Ashes but you want to learn without kind of getting destroyed all the time, 1 versus 1 will be something we'll be doing with many people, and potentially I'll be doing it myself. If we have someone in the guild who's much better at PvP than me, I'll 1v1 them and I'll learn them skills and I'll learn off them and progress. And I think all of these things that they've implemented kind of brings a nice family vibe and a non-toxic vibe where you're just pushed into this stuff. There's a kind of level there where you can step up into these different types of PvP and learn within the game and learn within your own comfort zone, and that's how you're going to keep the player retention. It's how you're going to keep people coming back, and it's how you're going to keep people playing the game and having fun with it. But now on to what everyone seems to be hyped about. You know, it's really good stuff. It's the latest combat footage. Now, we haven't seen something like this for about a year now, and it is a big change from what we've seen in Alpha 1. But do bear in mind, everything you've seen in this video is pre-Alpha 1 or is Alpha 1 footage, and everything you're about to see now is pre-Alpha 2, and it's just a little snippet of a part of the combat system in the works that they're looking for feedback, so don't judge it as the full combat. So what exactly did Intrepid show us this week from the latest combat update? Well, we've seen the basic melee weapon attacks and how they've changed from Alpha 1 to pre-Alpha 2. We've seen the root motion versus split body type movements and the types of agency provided to the player while respecting the weightedness Intrepid wanted from certain weapons. So for example, if you're using a super heavy sword, you can't expect that to be as fast as the daggers. The daggers might output DPS much faster, whereas the weighted sword might do some stun abilities, but it's slower, so you've got to time it right, and it looked really smooth. The effects were really nice, and I actually was quite happy with what I've seen. Now, from the effects from what I've seen, personally, I really liked the way the footprints went into the ground. Now, I know that's not necessarily combat, but it's just a little immersive thing for me that I really like, and playing this in high detail, you know, I want to make a really decent rig for this. I want that quality, that immersion. And then you jump into the blood splatters. Now, some folk had said this was a little bit too much, but personally, I really like the blood splatters. Or even when the sword swings backwards or smashes the ground like you see, and it does that damage effect on the floor, I think it's really cool, and it gives you a bit more impact between every attack, which kind of makes that combat that much more engaging to get involved in. And then you have the 360 whirlwind spinning attack. Now, that looked really nice, and that isn't even getting into the dodging. Now, how nice the dodging looked, the effects and animations on that, and how that could come into play when you see the rest of the combat system. But if that wasn't enough for you, Intrepid's even giving you the option to fully customize right down from the color to the size of the damage numbers and the output. Now, for someone like me that likes to know what's going on in front of them, the damage they're dealing, whether it's for raids or PvP, this is really cool, and it's a really neat thing they've added in for us to use there, utilize. Now, to wrap it up, what do you think? What do you think about the PvP offer? What do you think about the mods? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? Is there anything you'd like added? And what do you like about the latest combat update, or what do you dislike? I'd love to see your feedback in the comment section below. I'm really happy with it, but the more feedback Intrepid get, the more comments they can sift through, the more direction we can show we want the game to go, and that's really what they're looking for here. And if you do want to continue the discussion even more off the comment section on YouTube, feel free to join our Discord. The link is in the description before. It's a guild Discord, but it's also a community one. And as always, I really do appreciate you watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.